Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When I took office in January of 2017, our leadership decided to take bold measures to transform this Commonwealth to one of the most business-friendly climates in the country. We caught a lot of grief from some of the legislation that we passed. This bill just shows our commitment to the business community while not jeopardizing the safety of our great employees that make everything work. Governor Beshear announces weekly a new or expanding industry coming to the Commonwealth. Since 2018, Kentucky's real gross domestic product grew 1.7% annual, which was nearly twice the growth rate in the preceding 5 years. In addition, Kentucky surpassed 2 million jobs on record for the first time in its history in 2023 and has continued adding jobs since then. To keep our businesses and attract new economic opportunities, legislatures must follow through on the progress they have made in past sessions to ensure workers' safety while also creating fair and more transparent rules for employers. These proposed changes will help align Kentucky's occupational health and safety rules with federal standards, support businesses in responding to claims, and improve regulatory compliance for all parties. Mr. Speaker, would you please ask the clerk to report House Committee Sub 1 to House Bill 398?
Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 398.
Gentleman from Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Committee Sub added Secretary's designee, Commissioner, and the Commissioner's authorized representative. Essentially, it's not just the Secretary that has the authority to act, so we wanted to be clear that the bill pertains to all who have the authority. In Section 6, subsection 2, we added a 3-year look-back period for when a citation is considered a repeated violation. And in Section 7, sub clarifies that a de minimis violation does not carry a penalty. I move for adoption of House Committee Sub to House Bill 398.
Motion is for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion of the committee substitute? Seeing none, those in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would you please ask the clerk to report House Floor Amendment 1 to HB 398 as amended by House Committee Sub 1?
Clerk, please report.
House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 398.
Gentleman from Christian.
Yes, this amendment addresses a typo that was found on page 3, the last line that says employer, and it should say employee. I move for adoption.
Motion is for the adoption of House Floor Amendment 1. Is there any discussion of the floor amendment? Seeing none, those in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. House Floor Amendment 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we've put it all together, I'd like to take a moment without getting questioned by the gentleman from Wayne to explain what this bill does and does not do. HB 398 requires that Kentucky adhere to federal occupational safety and health regulations and not be more stringent than federal rules. We have adopted similar legislation for other types of rules before. HB 398 will align Kentucky with 29 federal program states that follow federal rules, not more stringent regulations. Additionally, it will align Kentucky with Indiana, which has passed similar legislation, and Ohio, West Virginia, and Missouri, which are federal program states. HB 398 clarifies that current employees have the right to file a complaint, ensuring the complaint comes from someone with personal and current knowledge of the situation. This is consistent with the federal rules. HB 398 authorizes the state to include a qualified representative of the employee and speak to other employees during the inspection if they deem it necessary. This provision ensures a thorough inspection that is free of distractions. It also ensures the state finalizes the outcome of a complaint and any related discrimination complaints without a specified, not subjective, time frame that aligns with federal requirements. It will protect employers' existing rights, including their right to have their day in court without court and legal fees being a deterrent. HB 398 also authorizes the state to issue a de minimis violation when there is no direct or immediate correlation to safety and health, such as a missing paperwork deadline. Now, please let me share what HB 398 does not do. I know many have gotten emails and stuff. HB 398 will not overhaul Kentucky's occupational safety and health regulatory program. Most rules align with federal laws. In fact, the bill will impact only a few existing regulations, and even then, it may only impact part of a rule. Kentucky already has a law that prohibits the promulgation of regulations more stringent than the federal rules. It will not leave workers unprotected from falls. Federal rules have clear fall protection standards. 398 will not leave workers unprotected from hazardous material risk. Federal rules have clear protection standards also. HB 398 will not leave public workers, including the firefighters, unprotected. The current law authorizes the State Occupational Safety and Health Office to adopt specific regulations to ensure the protection of public employees is not changed. It will not change Kentucky's state program status. Kentucky will still operate a state occupational safety and health program, and state employees will enforce rules in accordance with federal regulations. And lastly, it will not let employers off the hook for ignoring important safety and health rules. No changes are made to penalties or to the state's authority to respond to complaints or investigate serious incidents. Businesses must report incidents and accidents with hospitalizations, amputations, loss of an eye, or fatalities to occupational safety and health. HB 398 does not change this. Sometimes Kentucky must adopt new laws and regulations without a well-defined federal regulatory framework as a guide. However, in this case of occupational safety and health, Kentucky can follow a well-defined regulatory framework that the federal government has overseen since the early 70s. Kentucky's workplaces are getting safer, and so are the workplaces of federal program states. Mr. Speaker, I have a feeling there might be a few questions, but if not, I move for passage of HB 398, amended by House Committee Sub 1 and House Floor Amendment 1.